What's up, people? I'm feeling a little bit activated, so I'm going to keep talking for a while. It is now Thursday, and I got this sweater on because I love it so much. The black sweater will be back when I do laundry. How are things in... Okay, Headlights. Do you all know this band, Headlights? Okay, wasn't that interesting? It's just kind of like sitting there. Well, the reason is because I pulled their other record I have by them yesterday, and I still like it. Do you guys know this band, Headlights? I saw them open for of Montreal, and they were better than of Montreal that night, anyway. So, how are y'all doing with this weather? Yesterday, I live in Omaha, Nebraska, and so that weather came through here. We didn't have anything severe like Kentucky, but we had all the elements, and we did have some really crazy high winds, and some parts of Nebraska got tornadoes. But I want to say this on here because I know that my friends in Nebraska watch. Some of Nebraskans really disappointed me that they are so juvenile that they would joke about the fact that the storm missed Omaha. People thought it was funny to make comments, oh, you call that a storm? It's nothing to joke about. You want people's lives destroyed and homes torn up? I'm glad we were spared, and I made a comment this morning because it's like, this is one of the things that just really tiring is how, and I've been watching this since I was a child, is watching how the level of maturity of adults keeps slipping lower and lower. And the general action of, from what I see, the general level of adult maturity is at high school. It's not. People aren't adults a lot. And that was an example to me. And it's just like, man, are you kidding me? You're going to belittle people because they expressed concern, because people got prepared, because people said, be safe. Whew, man. Anyway, I wanted to unload that because that was on my mind, and I want Omaha people to hear that. Other thing about Omaha on my mind is that, I do enjoy you people sharing with me and telling me stuff. Like yesterday when I shared about Ride, some other folks shared some stuff personally about that Ride for them. Someone's sister dated Mark. That's cool to know. I want y'all to understand that part of the reason why my excitement about being involved in music and going to good shows and seeing bands that are not run of the mill is because I live in Omaha. I'm in the middle of the country, and this is really middle of the road. Shows and things that happen regularly in big cities like Chicago, New York, and the coast. They don't happen here. They have little things happen, but it's like you got to catch it or you don't. I've been amazed over the years at the things that have happened in Omaha that I missed, that I didn't know anything about, things that I really wanted to know about. So when I share my personal stories and also just the fact that I'm telling you about this cool music, I don't live in New York or Chicago where you have easy access to this stuff. That's partially why it means so much to me. It's this is partially what's helped me to remain sane in Omaha. This music, this connection to the rest of the world. Now I'm going to address this. Someone asked me about audiophile. Now, how would that make sense for me to be into audiophile? I don't have any money, and that's what that shit is all about. Like, so the guy down in Phoenix that I watch, who has the record store with his wife, he has that super expensive stereo. If I had that kind of money, would I buy that kind of stereo? I don't know. It's not my focus. The music and the artifact of the record, the art, the records are my big kick. I'm not a gearhead. Just like with being a musician, I'm not a gearhead with equipment. To this day, other musicians will ask me or say things about equipment, and they'll say numbers and shit. I don't know what the fuck they're talking about. I don't even care. Okay? Okay? So, headlights. Indie band. Seemed like it was a couple that was leading the band, but it's the male-female vocal harmonies and the songwriting. I'm not sure to compare it to. Maybe Fiery Furnaces, maybe. Really like this. Not this. This one. I bought 2 by them. This is the one. Kill Them With Kindness. Have you heard this album? Came out in 2006. Polyvinyl. What happened to that label? You know, life and music and everything goes through trends. But I'm happy to say that I learned early on as a kid about music, and what I like, and what I think is good generally over time holds up. If you don't know this band Headlights, I'm recommending them. I got a chance to speak to them after the show too, to let them know, because that I like to make connections. I like to connect with the artists. I do. They give something special to the world. Art and music is a wonderful gift, and so when I'm touched by your work, I do want to connect with you. I do. So I let them know, you know, I thought it was important to let them know how good they were. Another gift from the BC. Anthony sent this to me, I don't know when, the Nice, live in Sweden. 67. This is an unauthorized recording. I know that because Discogs will not resell it, but whoever did this did a beautiful job. 180 gram vinyl. The recording quality is very, very good. But when it comes to stuff like this, old stuff like this, it's like, you know, you take what you get, you know. Stranglers, Men in Black. These guys are fucking badass. You know, I'm glad they're still going, even without Hugh Cornwell and the loss of members dying. But I caught on to the Stranglers early on, and I knew they weren't punk right away. I knew they were just good. Aggressive, but good musically. And I have a bunch of their singles. I was collecting them for a long time. They have a lot of singles. I love this whole album, The Men in Black. Man, what a band. And I got into a mood for some Residents. I have to be in the mood for the Residents. I think the Residents are brilliant. I do. I don't think it's a one-trick pony. I don't think it's a joke that they pulled the wool over anybody's eyes. I think they have, from the beginning, been a mixture of innovators, artists, and practical jokers. But as I told you years ago, I traveled out to San Francisco when they did the Mole Show. What was it, their 3rd live appearance ever? I traveled by bus to be there. I went to both shows. So this I played last night, Residents Pal TV LP. It's some stuff from Vileness, Fats, and some other things. It's on red vinyl. Real good, real good. I pulled this to play, haven't got to it yet, in Mushroom. But the one that I played that was really fun yesterday was Eskimo Deconstructed. Now they put this out, and what they did was they took all the elements of Eskimo and they put them on separate tracks so that we, if we want to, can take them and remix them. But what I discovered last night is how listenable this is, just listening to the isolated tracks. One track, and the Residents are good at this, of doing things that will prick you or cause, maybe upset you. Say, what are they doing? So there's a track on here where they're doing a chant, mysterious chant, ga ga ga, neki neki. But at times it sounds like they're saying, nigger, 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 nigger. And they know what they're doing. I have high regard for the Residents. High regard. Another artist who passed away and that I have high regard for, Scott Walker, Climate of Hunter. It took me forever to get a copy of this album. This again is something it's just a cut above. And the surprise on here was I had never listened to the last track on this album all the way through. And last night was the first time. It's a duet between Scott Walker and Mark Knopfler. Now, before I looked that up, I was just listening to the song. And it's like, the way the song is going in the first place is not what you would think is typical Scott Walker. Of course, there's nothing typical about him. But I'm listening, and it's like, man, who is this guitar player? It's Mark Knopfler. And I think that's one of Scott Walker's, was one of his brilliant talents, is how he would bring things out with the people that he worked with, and as well as himself, searching for what the music has to offer, pushing people to play as opposed to just, I don't want to hear Mark Knopfler, I want to hear that guitar. It's brilliant. This whole album is brilliant. T2, I still want the actual release. They put out an album in the 70s called It'll All Work Out in Boomland. I have an 8-track of it. The 8-track is destroyed, but I found it as a kid as a cut-up, and that's all I could ever find of it. It's very collectible now. But this is a bootleg of more recordings of theirs called 1970. And it's like, it's a boot. These are somebody's cassette copy of the recording. It's a lot of hiss and stuff. Really good band, though. England was good at this. It's a sound that we didn't do here in America. I've always kind of preferred the English way. Speaking of, here's a comp from Island Records in the UK that I found. LP. Now, when this first came out, apparently it had a gimmicky cover where there was these foam bands on the inside, so that when you pull the record out, so the idea was that the record would automatically be cleaned when you take it out. Well, that had fallen apart, and the adhesive that kept it on was gone by the time I found this. But this is a great overview of the label at 1971. What a label, Island. Everyone from Bob Marley to Mountain to Nick Drake. What a label. And Mr. Todd Rundgren. Played this a couple days ago, and then I had to pull it and play it again yesterday. Cliché is the song I was thinking of. Cliché, but the whole album. Todd Rundgren, who was finally inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and I completely agree with his sentiments. You know, he's bittersweet about it because they passed him over when he was one of the first to be considered, and they snubbed him. They did. He told the story. Todd Rundgren is a genius, and he is one of the best rock and rollers America has produced. I'm happy to say that I've met Todd a couple times, actually spoke with him. He owns copies of my records. I didn't get the chance to give the EP to him personally. My friend Dean thought enough of me to make sure. I want you to have this from my friend Dereck. And Todd told Dereck, you let Dereck know I'm keeping this. When people give me records, I keep them. And see, little shit like that is really meaningful to me. It don't mean nothing to nobody else. I like sharing it with you. But that's part of that's the part of life that you can't buy. That's the part about people and their money that I don't envy. People who have money can buy all kinds of experiences and go all sorts of places, which is fine. But you cannot buy feelings, emotions, the way that life experiences resonate inside. You can't buy that. So in that sense, I'm very rich. I'm extremely rich. And the other thing that's beautiful about it is that because it's inner and it's about my experience, no one can take it from me. And I like sharing that because not everyone knows this. This brings up, yesterday on Facebook, a lady that I don't actually know but is a friend on Facebook typed a long thing about how she is really struggling and feeling persecuted, and people are being shitty to her. And I just shared a real quick thing. Take it back. Take it back. And later on, I noticed that she had responded, and she wrote a real long thing. It's like, no, I'm not going to do therapy today. But that's what ended up, I did read it. And what I saw is what is the case with a lot of people is that we are a mix of intellect and emotion. And this woman's emotions are completely confusing her intellect. And she does not understand that she has the right and also has the actual power to change her thoughts and her response to other people. She's being a victim because she doesn't know she doesn't have to be. So I don't mind sharing stuff like that because y'all need to know this, okay? Stop letting people fuck you over with their bullshit. And please notice whenever I bring up certain things, these really sad people make their presence noticed, and they always tell me about themselves, trying to point it at me. I'm sorry you people are unhappy. I'm sorry you people don't like yourselves. You know, I'm sorry for you. You know, it's so, you know, that's what they say about stupidity and ignorance, is that it's a bitch to be so stupid that you cannot see it. You know what I'm saying? All this clarity around you, and then you open your mouth and pff, same old shit. Whoa, you know what I'm saying? So that's why I bring it up here, because some of you other people who are in better shape, you're catching it, and you can use this information to improve your lives. And I do call names sometimes. I have a right to. I've been assaulted, you know. And so these dumb fucks deserve it, but they also have my love. And I'll say it again, because this has happened to me, where I meet people in person, and it's like, all that bullshit just goes away, because it becomes real obvious when we're face to face who has a problem. Who is really not happy with themselves, and who is trying to upset the apple cart because they're not getting what they want. It's not me. Yeah, I like sharing that with y'all. You need to know that and do it yourselves, okay? You got some jackasses in your lives that are constantly messing with your vibe. Tell them to eat shit and go jump off a cliff. Say it with love.